Letter 412 by Charles Lamb. No date, 1827. My dear BB, a gentleman I never saw before brought me your welcome present. Imagine a scraping, fiddling, fidgeting petit maître of a dancing school advancing into my plain parlor with a coupé and a sidling bow, and presenting the book as if he had been handing a glass of lemonade to a young miss. Imagine this, and contrast it with the serious nature of the book presented. Then task your imagination, reversing this picture, to conceive of quite an opposite messenger, a lean, straight-locked, whey-faced Methodist, for such was he in reality who brought it, the genius, it seems, of the Wesleyan magazine. Certes, friend B, thy widow's tale is too horrible, spite of the lenitives of religion, to embody in verse. I hold prose to be the appropriate expositor of such atrocities. No offense, but it is a cordial that makes the heart sick. Still thy skill in compounding it I not deny. I turn to what gave me less mingled pleasure. I find marked with pencil these pages in thy pretty book, and fear I have been penurious. Page 52, 53 capital. Page 59, 6th stanza exquisite simile. Page 61, 11th stanza equally good. Page 108 3d stanza, I long to see Van Balen. Page 111 a downright good sonnet, Dixie. Page 153 lines at the bottom. So you see, I read, hear, and mark. If I don't learn. In short, this little volume is no discredit to any of your former, and betrays none of the senility you fear about. Apropos of Van Balen, an artist who painted me lately had painted a blackamoor praying, and not filling his canvas, stuffed in his little girl a side of Blackie, gaping at him unmeaningly, and then didn't know what to call it. Now for a picture to be promoted to the exhibition, Suffolk Street as historical, a subject is requisite. What does me? I but christen it the Young Catechist, and furbished it with dialogue following, which dubbed it an historical painting. Nothing to a friend at need. While this tawny Ethiop prayeth, painter, who is she that stayeth by, with skin of whitest luster, sunny locks, a shining cluster, saint-like seeming to direct him to the power that must protect him? Is she of the heaven-born three, meek hope, strong faith, sweet charity, or some cherub? They you mention far transcend my weak invention. 'Tis a simple Christian child, missionary young and mild, from her store of scriptural knowledge, Bible taught without a college, which by reading she could gather, teaches him to say Our Father to the common parent, who color not respects nor hue. White and black in him have part, who looks not to the skin but heart. When I'd done it, the artist, who had clapped in miss merely as a fill space, swore I expressed his full meaning, and the damoiselle bridled up into a missionary's vanity. I like verses to explain pictures, seldom pictures to illustrate poems. Your woodcut is a rueful lignum mortis. By the by, is the widow likely to marry again? I am giving the fruit of my old play reading at the museum to Hone, who sets forth a portion weekly in the table book. Do you see it? How is Mitford? I'll just hint that the pitcher, the cord and the bowl are a little too often repeated passim in your book, and that on page 17 last line but for him is put for he, but the poor widow I take it had small leisure for grammatical niceties. Don't you see there's he myself and him, why not both him? Likewise imperviously is cruelly spelt imperiously. These are trifles, and I honestly like your book, and you forgiving it, though I really am ashamed of so many presents. I can think of no news, therefore I will end with mine and Mary's kindest remembrances to you and yours. CL. It has been customary to date this letter December, 1827, but I think that must be too late. Lamb would never have waited till then to tell Barton that he was contributing the Garrick plays to Hone's table book, especially as the last installment was printed in that month. Barton's new volume was A Widow's Tale and Other Poems, 1827. The title poem tells how a missionary and his wife were wrecked, and how after 3 nights and days of horror she was saved. The woodcut on the title page of Barton's book represented the widow supporting her dead or dying husband in the midst of the storm. This is the exquisite simile on page 59, from A Grandsire's Tale. Though some might deem her pensive, if not sad, yet those who knew her best could tell how calmly happy, and how meekly glad her quiet heart in its own depths did dwell, like to the waters of some crystal well, in which the stars of heaven at noon are seen. Fancy might deem on her young spirit fell glimpses of light more glorious and serene than that of life's brief day, so heavenly was her mien. This was the downright good sonnet. Old age is dark and unlovely, Ashen. Oh, say not so. A bright old age is thine, calm as the gentle light of summer eves, ere twilight dim her dusky mantle weaves, because to thee is given, in strength's decline, a heart that does not thanklessly repine at aught of which the hand of God bereaves, yet all he sends with gratitude receives. May such a quiet, thankful close be mine, and hence thy fireside chair appears to me a peaceful throne, which thou wert formed to fill, thy children, ministers, who do thy will, and those grandchildren, sporting round thy knee, thy little subjects, looking up to thee, as one who claims their fond allegiance still. And these are the lines at the foot of page 153, in a poem addressed to a child 7 years old. There is a holy, blessed companionship in the sweet intercourse thus held with those whose tear and smile are guileless, from whose lip the simple dictate of the heart yet flows. Though even in the yet unfolded rose the worm may lurk, and sin blight blooming youth, the light born with us long so brightly glows, that childhood's first deceits seem almost truth, to life's cold after lie, selfish and void of ruth. Van Balen was the painter of the picture of the Madonna and Child, which Mrs. Fitzgerald, Edward Fitzgerald's mother, had given to Barton, and for which he expressed his thanks in a poem. The artist who painted Lamb recently was Henry Mayer, 1782–1847, the portrait being that which serves as frontispiece to this volume. I give in my large edition a reproduction of the Young Catechist, which Mayer also engraved, with Lamb's verses attached. In 1910, I saw the original in a picture shop in the Charing Cross Road, now removed.